today's video, I'm going to do another fun little fairy layout, and I'm going to do more of a collage layout, I think, for this video. And I think I'm going to use some of this, and then I'm going to grab some of my scraps as well, some music paper and things like that. So let's get going here. These fairy items were from my May Happy Mail junk journal kit that I sent to my patrons. So I thought it would be fun to journal with some of the leftovers. That napkin is faux rice paper that I made. I hope you are doing well. Welcome back to my channel. Let me know what you've been up to, if you've been creating. My scraps are starting to get out of control again. I thought I liked how I was storing my scraps. So if you have some suggestions or ways that you all store yours, leave them in the comments down below. These two bins are bursting. So definitely, I want to have this on here at some point. Definitely want to put some of that and some of this. Alright, let's get that collage medium out again. I used the collage medium on the layout on the left hand side, and I'm really impressed with the quality of this. I like there's no stickiness to this after it has dried. I'm using the Tim Holtz collage medium, and I'll put a link down below. I just bought it a few weeks ago, and I'm glad I did. Before, I would just use Mod Podge or gesso, but there is a difference with this Tim Holtz. And I'll just trim that off. Anything going over the edges. And then I think I'll put a little bit of this up at the top. Here. I have a video showing how I made this faux rice paper. If you're interested, you can check that out. I'll try to remember to link that down below. Oops. It's good to put your paintbrush in water. If you don't have any handy, you can wrap it up in a baby wipe. And then I think I want a little bit of this lace. This doily that I am tearing up, I actually avocado dyed it, and it gave it that really pretty pink color. And the first time that I avocado dyed paper, I was shocked it came out pink. I thought it would come out green. But I love that color, and I take the husk and the nut and I really let them cook for a long time so I get a nice pink color. The paper that I am tearing up now is actually some painted watercolor paper, and I used this pearlescent watercolor, and it has kind of almost like glitter in it, but it's not glitter. It has a really neat little sheen. I don't think it shows up on camera, but I really like how it adds another depth, another layer. And I think this green color really goes well with the fairy image as well as the faux napkin. The image on the left hand side of the page, I did a video on that. If you haven't seen it, you can check it out. And on that page, I was doing more of a there was an image, a layout that I wanted to do where it was a scene, and I wanted to have this fairy door kind of poking out of all these different little leaves and bushes and flowers and things like that, and then have the night sky up above. And on the layout that I'm working on today, I thought it would be fun to do a collage layout. So just a different perspective than the one on the left-hand side. I like them both just as much, but just wanted to try something a little bit different. So I'm using a bundled sage here to ink up these papers. I tore this green strip in half because it wasn't long enough to stick out behind the fairy image. And so now these two pieces, they can be poking out on either side of the fairy image. And this image actually had a black border around it, and I didn't want that black border on this page, so I fussy cut around the lace to get rid of the black border, and I like how that came out. And then I've added another strip of this green watercolor paper. I really like to repeat my elements on a page. I feel like that gives some continuity to the eye as you're looking at the page. You can start up looking at the fairy up top, and then your eye will go down to that other green element down on the bottom side. I'm using my reptile glue to glue on to this strip, and I also use my Scotch Create glue stick. After I ink up the longer green strip, I thought it would be cool to kind of have it hang over the edge of the page, almost like a little tab. So I just glued that down. And then now I'm going to glue down the other little green pieces, and I'm going to ink up this fairy image. I'm going to use Vintage Photo to ink this up. And while I was doing this, I had this idea of, what if I crinkled it up and gave it a little more grungy look to it? And so I really like how that came out. And then I just ran the blending tool over the different bumps that created from me wadding it up. And so that was fun. So always think about different ways you can alter your pieces and try crumpling some up. I'm still trying to decide what I want to do down at the bottom of the page while I'm gluing these two pieces on. And as I was thinking about these two pieces, instead of having them be straight equal across each other, I thought I would offset them. I thought that would give a little more interest to the page instead of it having look like it's just a straight strip behind the fairy image. I'm going to have them be offset a little bit. I like how that turned out. And then I glue down this little avocado dyed doily after I inked it up, and I'm having it hang off so it looks like a tab there. And I might come back and reinforce that later. And I pulled out my glue book to glue down the fairy image. I've seen several of the other crafters, like Carrie the crafter and Gail, use and book pages as a background for when they're gluing items, and it does work out nicely. And then I can use those pages for something else. After a little bit of thinking, I decide I want to pull out this wildflower field stamp and use that on the bottom. And then I'm going to use my colored pencils and color it in. So the thing to note is I push that stamp all the way to the left-hand side of my stamp platform so that it'll fit, get a nice flat image onto the page. And here I think I ended up using Walnut Stain. I think it could have been Vintage Photo. And I just really pushed hard to get a good image onto the page. And I did have to stamp a couple areas more than once because I guess I didn't have enough ink in one certain spot on the stamp. But that, I think it turned out well. And then with this little stamp kit, I can't remember where I got it. It might have been Joann's. But it also has some butterflies and dragonflies and some individual little flower images. So I'm taking the butterfly and stamping that on a couple other spots on the page to kind of tie everything together. And then also I'm going to stamp the dragonfly. And also I have, they almost look like, what is it, dandelions when they go to seed and they have that white little puff ball. I have that stamp as well. And so I just stamp that around a couple different places before I get the colored pencils out. I'm glad I decided to use stamps on this page. I often don't think about using them as much as I should because I have a lot of stamps that I really like. So I'm glad to be using them. So another tip for you is, think about the stamps that you have and try to incorporate them on your page as well. And here's that little poof, dandelion poof stamp. And there's so much movement in that stamp. I really like it. And it's really dainty. I grabbed my colored pencils off of my pegboard, and now I am just going to have some fun, pick a bunch of different colors and the colors that I like, and color in the different flowers, and also use some different color greens on the stems. And I'll fast forward this process up, but remember to hit that like button. I would appreciate it. And let me know what y'all think of this layout in the comments below. This stamp is another one of my favorite stamps. I've used it to make cards, so I'll stamp it on the front and then use my colored pencils to color it in, and it just makes a really sweet little card to send off to a friend, like a thank you card or just thinking of you card. Lots of different options with this particular stamp. And if you're interested in becoming a patron, I'll have the information down below in the description box. I have a couple spots open. For July, I think I'm going to be doing a bee theme, so if that's something you're interested in. And I also have videos over there that are member-only videos, as well as digitals. I also have a Facebook group called Junk Journal Friends. If you want to join over there, I'd love to see pictures of your creations, and you can also tag me on Instagram. Well, as I finish up with doing a little trimming around the edges where the faux rice paper was hanging over, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. and I really do appreciate you all and all of you that comment, Juanette and Rachel and Barbie. There's so many of you, and I really, really appreciate that, and Kelly. So thanks so much, and I hope to catch you all in the next video, and please remember to hit that like button. Bye. Love y'all.